I run this on YouTube also. I'm trying to connect this to YouTube right now.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I said I was trying to call you the past couple of days because I was telling you I was in Baltimore. I was letting you know I was going to be in Baltimore.
Oh, all right. Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah, I seen a missed call from you.
Yeah, I was trying to call you.
Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. What's going on, Sean? So we're gonna continue on where we left off last night. Trying to give some more of these people to get an opportunity to show up. They're gonna show up. And so are you aware what happened in Jersey? Isaiah, Yeshaya, about the shooting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware. I know.
Yeah.
I know that. I know it was like a false flag.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's deliberately staged that way so that they could justify, launching an attack on Israelites. That's pretty much the gist of it, in a nutshell. So I mean, the fact of the matter is, despite what any of the people in the conscious community are saying, there's no other group out there right now that's growing as rapidly as the Israelites. And there's no other group that's really, even relevant to them. When you really think about it, like who's really doing anything? You don't really hear about the Nation of Islam anymore. The so-called conscious community is not doing anything but being envious. Not all of them, just most of them. Like that guy Garfield that came on Sadnetta. I can say Sadnetta, he was showing love, man. I appreciate that. But I mean, for the most part, most of them that came on that show were blatantly, attacking Israelites and pretty much, denouncing Israelites. But they was making mockery of the Most High. But in the end, when they find out that the Most High Israel, they're gonna resent everything that they're like stating right now with their theatrical little stage shows that they've been actually partaking in. And I'm kind of wondering where everyone else is right here. Just trying to wait for them to sign on, but there's someone else right there. But yeah, man, they've been going hard. Like, I mean, it kind of, when the heat pulls on, man, your people will kind of show you, the cowards that they really are, and how much they really think about you and how much they really care about you. Because most of these people are, they're really blatantly, suggesting we don't give a damn about the Israelites and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? I mean, if you listen to them talk, that's basically what's actually been going on. And I was trying to show people last night the parallel between what's going on today and the same exact movement. But I could tell you what it is. It's COINTELPRO. And many of these people out there in these camps that I've been warning these guys about, they're informants. That they done the same thing, during the time of the Black Panthers, during the time of Dr. King, during the time of Malcolm X. They infiltrate the organizations to destroy it from the inside, And so what they do is they establish certain stitches. And as far as the Black Panthers, there's a snitch named William O'Neill that was an informant, for the FBI, COINTELPRO, their counterintelligence program. But there's another snitch that was involved that most people don't even know about. Even most of the Black Panthers don't know about him. And I'm going to touch on him today. Was a Japanese guy, because a lot of these Israelites, COI, a lot of these Israelites, they invite these people, oh yeah, that's the spirit of a Jake, and so on and so forth. And I honestly believe that that is going to backfire on them in the end. That, they're going to find out that many of these people that they think are for them, these people that they're like or alleging that's Israelites, they're going to find out that they're not, and they're going to regret doing what they're doing now. So I mean, yeah, we're gonna call this the FBI COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program. To those of you that don't realize what that means, the U.S. government's war against Israelites. This thing started with J. Edgar Hoover in the 50s, right? So what is COINTELPRO? It's essentially an acronym for a counterintelligence program. And they claim that it ended, but I contend that it's still going on today. This is COINTELPRO going on today against the Israelites. They're painting an ugly image of Israelites in the face of white America and the rest of the world so that they could justify when they start killing Israelites like they did the Black Panthers, like they did Fred Hampton, like they did Mark and other Black Panthers. I mean, the stage is essentially being set. So I hope Israelites are really paying attention to what's going on. So that, this was a covert and often illegal because most of what they done was illegal, the illegal wiretappings and so on and so forth. So it was a covert, illegal project conducted by the United States federal government, not down south, but by the United States federal government, Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, that was aimed on spying and infiltrating and discrediting, disrupting, and destroying pretty much what they refer to as Black extremist organizations. So what exactly do they mean, Shaw, when they say a Black extreme? What identifies someone as a Black extreme organization? What do they mean by that, Shaw? Because when they was questioned about that, they never responded. What exactly is a Black extremist organization? So it was primarily directed at these organizations that's considered to be subversive. They look at the Israelites as a subversive movement. The Southern Poverty Law Center referred to Israelites as a hate group. Now, according to the FBI, it was that someone else? Give me a second here. No one else is trying to come in the room here. Yeah, it is. Oh, that was Shashai again. Pardon the interruption, but nevertheless, right? Going back to it. So now, according to the FBI, they actually intensified attention under this program. That and pretty much, Black Panthers started being murdered. They murdered Fred Hampton and then trying to lie and said that they fired shots from within the building, but when you look into it, it was all lies. When you pull the footage of that, when they done the investigation, it was showing that the police literally murdered him. And then when they was questioned about it, they didn't want to entertain the questions. But I mean, this is not new. It's all prophetic, and I highly encourage believers to walk circumspectively, because they're gonna you can best believe they're listening to this right now. They're gonna monitor everything that you do and say and look for an excuse. So with that, hey, Yeshaya, can you get Isaiah 5:20? Let me try and call a couple people up here. What happened to Yashabun? It looks like you keep getting knocked out. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, Satan, we're aware of Satan devices. Keep kicking me off. If he does it again, I'll just stay off through YouTube.
So I mean, Isaiah, are you there, Shaw? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I need someone to get Isaiah 5 verse 20. But Shaw, I mean, see, he's signed on, but he's not really sending anything.
I hear you. I hear you, brother.
Yeah.
I'm here, man.
So I'm gonna get that Isaiah 5 and 20. I'm trying to type a message to these other people, man. See what's going on. So the book of Isaiah 5 verse 20, it says, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who substitute darkness for light and light for darkness, who substitute bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." And so essentially, if you listen to the conscious community, they was pretty much denouncing all Israelites. Many of them said, well, I mean, they're finally getting what they deserve, and so on and so forth. But this is what the Lord has to say about that. The Lord said, woe unto those who call evil good and good evil. Because essentially, the Israelites has actually been around. This movement's actually been around in the United States since the 1800s. And when you track the Israelites, you know, from that period up into the day, you can't link them to any violent crimes. And so because you have a few bozos that go out and commit heinous crimes, now you're going to try to blame an entire religious organization. Why haven't they done that with Protestants? Why didn't they say that when Protestants went and shut up schools? Why they didn't say that when Christians went and blew up buildings like Oklahoma and so on and so forth? And I can tell you why. Is because we are. So they're trying to paint an ugly image of all Israelite again, so that they could justify making a move on the Israelites. Now, March the 8th, 1971, there was a group of anonymous activists that literally broke into a small two-man office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation in a place known as Media, Pennsylvania, right? And then they stole more than 1,000 FBI files. How do we know that COINTELPRO exists? Because of these men right here. So they stole over 1,000 FBI files. Shalom. Stole over 1,000 FBI files, documents that actually reveal years of systematic wiretapping, which was illegal, by the way. It was illegal, by the way. Infiltration and media manipulation, like they're doing today. You've seen Bellagio stand up. You've seen other so-called leaders stand up and try to paint a vicious, atrocious picture of all Israelites, of some guy that's not even linked to Israelites. They saying he's an Israelite, but they can't link him to no group, no assembly, no one. You understand? But they have this desire to paint this atrocious image of Israelites. So when they raid them, when they run up in your home, when they stop you in the street, they're going to justify killing you, murdering you. So you better be very careful, because that's what they're setting the stage for. See, by trying to affixate this man that went into this this Jewish store and murder these people, by trying to suggest that this man was an Israelite, they want to project that image into the mass mind that Israelites are dangerous and violent, and there's a need to deal with them. This is all COINTELPRO, man. And besides that, they're setting up agents right in a lot of these camps, man. Right in a lot of these organizations. Right in a lot of these organizations. And so this is what's going on. So nevertheless, these two men, they broke in the FBI building, they stole thousands of files, and then the Citizens Commission, you know, people to investigate the FBI. As a group itself, you know, these people, they forced their way into, you know, this building while doing the Muhammad Ali, George
joined the meeting.
During the Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, should I say, fight. While Ali and Frazier was fighting, these men was breaking in the building. And so when the agents arrived the next day for work, the next morning, they found that the file cabinet had been virtually empty. These people took the information. So within a few weeks, the documents began to show up, mailed anonymously in manila envelopes with no return addresses. You see what I'm saying? So now the government's saying you got to put a return address on everything. And so it started to show up in newsrooms, a major American newspaper. You can find the documents online. They're declassified now. And so this is how people begin to become aware that the government had a counterintelligence program against what they refer to as black people. And we're not black. We're Israelites. We're Moors. Black is a brand of color. That is not us. So the COINTELPRO tactics included discrediting targets, meaning make you, well, he's heinous, he's harsh, he's ruthless, he's dangerous. They discredit you. They discredit the targets through psychological warfare. What is the psychological warfare that's going on today that they're using? That damn guy Bellagio stood up and tried to paint an ugly image of all Israelites, of a man that they're trying to suggest is an Israelite, that they can't even link to a camp. They can't even link this man to a camp. So that's psychological warfare on the mass mind to try and affix this man to Israelites so they could justify murdering us like they did Fred Hampton, like they did Mark, like they did many of the other Black Panthers, like they did Martin Luther King once he started to speak out against the Vietnam War, like they did Malcolm X. Oh, sure, we know it was a black man that pulled the trigger, but the government was behind that. When Malcolm X was over in Mecca, he said he saw the same two white men following him that he saw in America. So he knew it was bigger than the Nation of Islam. So they plant false reports in the media. Like they're saying the man have a pipe bomb. They said he had some manifesto. Israelites don't have nothing like that, man. So they're playing psychological warfare on your mind. Then they smear through forged letters. They start harassing you on the street to try to exacerbate tension so they could justify gunning you down. They'll do wrongful imprisonment. They'll lock you up. No reason. You know how many innocent people in prison now? They don't need a reason. Just pick one. And I know this sounds like fictitious to many of you because your heads are in the damn sand and you think this is a joke. But the times are very serious right now. And they use all sorts of violence, man. Even assassinations. Martin King, Malcolm X, Black Panthers. The list goes on and on. They also use covert operations under the Central Intelligence Program, aka COINTELPRO. And this actually, it took place between 1956 and 1971 with the black, all these black power movements. J. Edgar Hoover, he's the one that started this. The U.S. government has actually used covert operations against domestical political groups since its inception and continues to do so this day. Now, this program, again, it was established in the 1950s by J. Edgar Hoover. Against who? Against us. Against what they refer to as so-called black people. Why did he establish it? Because so-called blacks was fighting for freedom, justice, and equality. That's the only reason he started it. And so now today, it's against the Hebrew Israelites. It's against the Hebrew Israelites. Just like it was against the Black Panthers. Because what other group out there is really significant in 2019 going into 2020? Just the Hebrew Israelites. They're like a thorn in America's backside. What are they saying? They saying our identity has actually been stolen. They're saying we want better living standards. They're saying return to the laws of God. But they don't want that. And they said that this, this program was designed for Black identity extremists. What is a Black identity extremist, Eleazar? What do they mean by that? Can someone tell me what they mean by Black identity extremist? What do they mean by that, Rich? What is a Black identity extremist? Because I'm still trying to figure that out. Anyone? Sure? Can you tell me what a Black identity extremist is? What are they talking about when they say Black identity extremists? No one got anything to say, huh? Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know either, man. I don't know either. I mean, so it's just a title they threw out there. So people need to question the president and say, what exactly is a Black identity extremist? How about that, Blasio? What is a Black identity extremist? Then, to destroy the Black Panthers, they planted a damn snitch. And I'm telling you, man, this is where you better check the people that's next to you. This is why I look at some people and I study them, man. They still acting funny. Nah, man, I'm not dealing with that cat. So, I mean, you really got to check your friends, man. Keep your enemies close, but your friends even closer. Because they planted a snitch by the name of William O'Neill in the Black Panther Party, man. William O'Neill. They planted him in the Black Panther Party, and he snitched them out. He was telling the FBI, the Black Panthers, every move and every plan. But they also planted another snitch that you people don't even know about, man. A Japanese man. Keep thinking these people are for you, man. Aoki. Go and check him out. He was an FBI informant. This was the same man that supplied the Black Panthers with the weapons that they had. Because he was an activist in the so-called Asian community. But William O'Neill, this coon, on December the 4th, 1969, he was responsible. He was the informant that helped set up the murder of our brother Fred Hampton and Mark Clark. William O'Neill was the informant that helped stage that murder of Fred Hampton and Mark Clark in Chicago. Two of the Black Panthers leaders, man. This snitch informant that was actually used by the FBI and COINTELPRO named William O'Neill arranged for the murders of Fred Hampton and Mark Clark. You don't hear a lot about Mark Clark. You hear a lot more about Fred Hampton because he was more of a spokesperson. But see, the rulers of this world, They want you to live in darkness and wickedness. They want you to live all of these different alternative lifestyles and so on and so forth. They want you to be worldly Negroes. But the Israelites are telling you to walk in the light, and they don't like that. They're telling you to walk in the light. They tell you to do for yourselves, to do not depend on Esau, and so on and so forth. And I'll say this to all of you, man, because a lot of people are being quiet about this. All of you that stand on the damn sideline and just like to watch things happen. I don't care if you're so-called black, so-called white, whatever. You're responsible for Malcolm X's death. You're responsible for the death of Martin Luther King. You're responsible for the death of the members of the Black Panther Party. Why are you responsible? You're responsible that Fred Hampton died. You're responsible for the death of Mark Clark because you stood on the damn sideline then. Your parents did, and now you stand on the sideline. Like all you people that call yourself members of the conscious community, you're not conscious. You're not conscious. You're cooning because you'll stand on the sideline and try and watch them lynch your brother Israelites and say, well, they're getting what they deserve. So the blood is on your hands as well. Anyone that stands on the damn sideline or anyone that stood on the sideline back there and they done nothing, any of you members of the white race to say, well, I'm not racist. Some of my best friends are black, but you stood on the damn sideline while you watch your people lynch black people, while you watch the police department and the FBI gun down the Black Panther members for what? For trying to stand up for their community, for justice? You're guilty just as well. So don't think you're not guilty. You're guilty just as well. Racism was supposed to have ended what? About what? A damn 170 years ago now? Racism is very live in America and throughout the world. And if you don't recognize that, you need to get your damn head out of the sand. Or better yet, out of your damn rectum. But now there's an attack on Israelites. Most of you whites, right? You live in a country where you stand, I'm going to talk to you, I don't care if you like it or not. You live in a country and you stand mute while you watch white police officers gun down so-called black men and black women, and you stand mute and say nothing about it, but you say you're not a racist. You say you're not a racist, but you stand mute and say nothing about it. See, this system don't have justice for Israelites. This system don't have justice for Moors. This is what the Israelites are in the streets saying. We want justice. This system don't have justice for us. This system has the legality appearance or the legal appearance of justice for so-called blacks, but there is no justice for us in this country. Therefore, many people became Israelites because they're saying, just like back then when Elijah Muhammad brought out the Nation of Islam, because they was doing something for those people that referred to themselves as black. Most people, the young people saying, well, these Israelites out here, they're banging, they're telling the truth in the streets. So the government see all these young people joining the Israelites and say, damn, we got to do something about them, man. But why are they doing it? Because there's no justice in this country for Israelites. And so after, we learn our nationality, we say, I'm not black. I'm not an African American. I'm not a colored man. And the government says, you're racist. Why? Because we won't allow you to place us in some fictitious corporate status. We're racist. Why are we racist? Because we speak out against oppression, police brutality. Why are we violent? What one violent thing any of the major Israelite camps, besides, I mean, I'm not talking about isolated incident, right? What violent thing have we done? We don't go and burn down crosses after we lynch someone. That's your history, not ours. Someone give me the book of Psalms 7, verse 11. Psalm 7, verse 11. Must be someone. Can you get that, Shaw? All right, Eleazar, unless you're not close to his book, a Bible.
I have Psalm 7:11.
Okay, read that for me. I appreciate that.
God judges the righteous. God is angry with the wicked every day.
So the Most High, he judged the righteous with justice, and he's angry with the wicked every day. So this is what the Israelites actually be in the street saying, man. The Israelites be saying that God, the Most High, the God of the Bible, is angry with the government. And you of course, Israelites are angry with the government because it's an unjust system. And if you're not angry, then you're just a walking dead. You're like Ezekiel's, valley of dry bones. You're walking around, but you're a corpse, short for a corporation. So you're like a dead thing, which is why every time they drag you into one of these courts, and then when the judge comes out in his black priestly robe, which represents Rome, he says, all rise. Because why? You're dead. So when he's telling you to all rise, he's telling you to rise as the living soul. So now they can afflict you with the commercial system. And then if you can't pay, they're going to throw you in the box because you're dead. They see you as a dead people. This is why they call you black. Black has no status. What status does black have? Black doesn't have a flag. Black man has no flag. As long as you identify yourself as Negro, black, a color, you're nationless. Yet you want reparations. How can they give reparations to a dead thing that can't own anything? And so Israelites are trying to work people up. And this is what the Black Panthers did. That's why they were such a threat. I don't know if most people knew. Huey P. Newton was a nighttime law student. That's why they was reciting so many laws. And so when I first started doing this, a lot of it was like, oh, yo, you're going off. You're going off. They're reading of many books. But you have to know civics. You need to know this law so you can know when they're violating your rights. So they don't say it directly, but it's obvious that America is racist. They express it each time the police murder one of us. Each and every time.
Yes.
Each and every time. Why have they not done? You see how with this crazy guy done in Jersey, and I don't believe he's no damn Israelite. Again, I keep asking, which group is he affiliated with? Because of what this idiot done in Jersey, when he slew these people, they go and they, define an entire religious community as hate. This is a hate group. This is an extremist group. That's just a plot, man. That's part of the propaganda. That's part of the propaganda because they need to paint a very ugly picture of Israelites so they could justify killing you wholesale. You got to really pay attention to what's going on here, man. This is very serious. This is very serious. But when a white guy goes in and shoots up a movie theater, if he's a Christian, how come they say why don't they say once? Why haven't they stated once? Oh, Christianity is a dangerous religion. We this is a hate religion. Why haven't they said that? It was Christians that went in and shoot up the schools. Why haven't they identified the Christians as a hate group? When Timothy McVeigh blew up the building in Oklahoma, why weren't Christians identified as a hate group? But Israelites is a hate group. You see what it is? The Israelites speak for the right of our people. And so, since they're so vocal, they hate this. But you're going to call someone a hate group in the face of over 450 years of damn hate. That's atrocious. That's one of the most appalling things that I've ever heard. Hey, sure, can you get me Psalms 7 verse 8? I don't know what the one don't want to read, man. The sister, this is incredible, but hey, I'm not surprised, man. I'm really not surprised.
I'm driving.
Yeah.
I have it, Psalm 7:8.
Salaki, let the brother read. Salaki, sister, let the brother read.
Yeah, I mean, I asked the brother like several times. There's a couple brothers in here, but they're not reading, man.
Brother, I was
And that's
driving.
done on purpose because I know the brothers could hear me because I heard them speak.
I was
I
driving.
have,
brother. Apologize. Driving. Psalms. Go ahead, sister, for a second.
Yeah, I mean, if you're driving, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry
It
about it.
says Psalm 7,
Verse
Psalm
8.
7, verse 8.
Come.
The Lord shall judge the people. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness and according to mine integrity that is in me.
So the Lord's going to judge the people. And this is what this is all the Israelites say. The Israelites just simply say the Most High is going to bring judgment. But now all of a sudden, the government is trying to paint this heinous image to the world that, well, these people right here are dangerous. If you listen to the Israelites, all of their teachings is that God is going to come. Hamashiach Yahweh is going to bring judgment on his second return. That's all the Israelites say. They don't say, oh, yeah, we're going to do this. No. That's a lie, man. But that goes back to the COINTELPRO. That's psychological warfare. They're training the people's mind to not like, when they see someone infringes, they're going to see a threat. When they see someone infringes, they're going to see a threat. And the media is going to try to continue to paint an ugly picture. And so, it was an Israelite. I thought he had a weapon. Justified. They're going to call it justifiable homicide. So you got to be very careful. And, I wouldn't advise people to go out unless they're actually in groups and try and teach. And groups are at least 3 or 4 men so that you can have a witness. Because, I mean, you can think it's a joke all you want to, but there's an attack on Israelites. So let me show you something real quick, man. Where's Fred Hampton? Okay, right here. These Black Panthers was actually murdered also at UCLA Hall. They were slain at UCLA Hall. Whoever got that noise, could you mute your mic? Appreciate it. So this right here is Fred Hampton. They murdered this brother. He was a strong speaker. They murdered him and then trying to say he was firing shots through the door. But when they did the ballistics on it, the shots came from the police side. They fired hundreds of rounds into this house where they were. They killed them in his bed. And the police literally lied. And once it was proved, they still did nothing about it. So whoever has the noise, can you please mute your mic? I mean, obviously, you're not reading anyways. There's no point of actually being unmuted. That's J. Edgar Hoover right here. This is the guy that started the COINTELPRO. This guy stayed in power so long because he had so much dirt on all the presidents that was actually in office. This man was also a member of what you refer to as the alternative lifestyle, like to put on dresses and so on and so forth, dressed up like a female. This is his brother, Fred Hampton again, who was a very powerful speaker, man. The shame is a lot of these young people, they don't know a damn thing about these people. Here's this guy again, man. This is still going on today. Still goes on today, right now. He's the one that initiated the COINTELPRO to spy on, so-called blacks. And so when those two men that I was telling you about broke into the FBI building, it was printed in the paper right here, stolen documents. And this one, it was actually revealed that COINTELPRO was actually going in, that FBI was illegally wiretapping people's phones in the Black Panthers and so on and so forth. Then they done the same thing. And you see this guy, he was a damn Shriner. You see what I'm saying? The Illuminati's always involved, man. He was a Shriner. You see that? So, I mean, he was tied to Masonry, the Illuminati. So that means he was a Shriner. He crossed the burning sands. And here he is right here. It's too small. That's Dr. King. So they got him. When he started speaking out against the war in Vietnam, Dr. King's life ended. It was okay until he spoke out against the war in Vietnam. Once he spoke out against the war in Vietnam, look at this. The man's life ended. They slew him. Now, this paper right here, so you can see I'm not making this story up. This paper right here, again, is talking about the two members that had actually broken into the FBI building and came up with that information by stealing over 1,000 papers that this COINTELPRO actually existed. And the FBI was illegally wiretapping on people's phones. That's one of the actual documents from it. And so as you can see, they plot. They plotted on us, right? And so today, this thing has actually switched from the Black Panthers because the new Black Panther Party, you don't really see too much of them. They don't really consider them a threat. Here's the new Black Panther Party. The Israelites are much more relevant than these guys. Not to insult them, but you don't really hear anything about them. You know, you don't hear too much about them. But you see the Israelite movement spreading all over the world, and so they see that as a definite threat. So these are the tactics that they use. Forced imprisonment, all of this. Secret extermination of bank records. I mean, they do all of this stuff to you, man. Physical surveillance, assassinations, creating distrust between members, make you not like each other, man. I think that's what happened to that guy, The Rock, man. What got in his head, man? Planted some sort of chip or something. I was looking for an image. I thought I had a picture here of Mark and this is when the Panthers actually went into the Capitol right here, armed up. See, after this, they passed the gun laws. The Black Panthers are the reason that they passed a lot of these new gun laws, because these men, they studied the law. Again, Huey P. Newton was a law student, nighttime law student. So they studied the law. And when the cops would do a certain thing, when they would pull one of our people over, the Panthers, a group of Panthers, would actually pull up behind them and, watch, observe those so-called police activities. And the cops say, "What are you doing? You don't have any to watch me." And then they would start reciting the law and so on and so forth. Like, I'm 22 feet away from you. I can watch you as much as I want to, pig, and things of that nature. And they didn't like that. So they started to pass all of these new bias laws. That's why there's so many new laws and you know, so on and so forth on their books. So I mean, yeah, man, and now they pretty much, you know, moved it on to the Israelites, and this is why we see what we saw in New York and New Jersey. So things, when you think you're looking at a certain thing, you really got to understand what you're looking at. And if your mind's not trained to see beyond the buffoonery and fuckery, then they would definitely get you. Understand that. Understand that. So, you know, these rulers, again, they want you in darkness. You know, but the Israelites are trying to wake you up to the light. Book of Psalms 140 and 12 and 13 says that I know that the Lord will maintain the cause of the afflicted and the right of the poor. Now, I've never heard Hebrew Israelites state that they're going to destroy or kill someone and so on and so forth. They always say they're waiting on the Lord, but that's not the image that the government is currently trying to paint. And the reason that they're not trying to paint that image, the reasons that they're trying to paint them as hostiles, so they could call it justifiable homicide. So this idiot that you saw that attacked these people in New Jersey, you know, had weapons. So they're going to try and link all Israelites to that now and say, well, yeah, well, I thought he had a weapon. So I was defending myself. But what does the Lord say about that? Book of Psalms, chapter 37 and 38. He says, but transgressors will be altogether destroyed. The prosperity of the wicked will be cut off. So this is all that the Israelites be saying. They be quoting from the Bible. And then Esau would flip that on you and say, well, yeah, they was giving it their own interpretation. Like the guy that was actually giving a testimony from Jersey that was saying, yeah, he interpreted the Bible according to his own way. I mean, this right here is verbatim right here. It doesn't require any interpretation of that scripture right there. Many of the scriptures in the Bible is crystal clear. There's some that deal with, this allegorical, you got to actually interpret the meaning, but many is precise and to the point. And so because it doesn't fit what they want, and because Israelites no longer reading the Bible from that slave master perspective that you taught them, now they're posed a threat. Proverbs 14:11 says the house of the wicked will be destroyed, but the tent of the upright will flourish. So ultimately, the people that's doing wickedness, according to the Bible, not according to Israelites, according to the Bible, you will be destroyed. If your house is wicked, who's ruling the world? Are black people ruling the world today? Shaw, Richard, who's ruling the world today? Esau is ruling the world. Job 9:24 says that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That's Bible prophecy. But when you say that, they say that's hate. But it's obvious. So, I mean, someone's lying here. Either the Bible's lying or the people that's in control of the world is lying. I mean, precept after precept after precept. It says that he that leadeth into captivity will go into captivity. Psalms 94:23 says he has brought back their wickedness upon them and will destroy them in their evil. So that's what's coming to everyone that does wickedness. The way that, you might hear it worldly is that you reap what you sow. If you deal death to people, if you murder women and children, you've got to be prepared for when God brings that back to you. That's what the Bible said. Psalms 94:23 says he has brought back their wickedness upon them and will destroy them in their evil. The Lord our God will destroy them. That's what the Israelites are saying. It's right there. Psalms 94:23. Psalms 28:5 says, because they do not regard the work of the Lord, nor the deeds of their hands, he would tear them down and not build them up. That right there applies to a lot of you Israelites, man. That applied to many of you. But the scripture said they're going to be destroyed in a moment. This has happened for many people right now, right? But the Lord said they're going to be destroyed in a moment because they don't know when the second coming of Mashiach is going to take place. Psalm 73:19 says how they are destroyed in a moment, in a second. They are utterly swept away by sudden terrors. This is what the Israelites be saying in the streets, and they don't like this. This is what they're calling hate teaching. This is what the leader of the Southern Poverty Law Center calls his hate teaching. But when you look up Morris D, he's identified as a racist. The man that heads the Southern Poverty Law Center is a racist. Well, how do you like that? Isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? Book of Psalms 92:7 says that then the wicked sprouted up like grass. That means they everywhere. They're all around you. All who did iniquity flourish. So they're flourishing right now. Everyone that's doing wickedness, they sold to Satan. It was only that they might be destroyed forevermore. So the Lord, in case that went over someone's head, right? You didn't get the allegory right there. So the Lord is saying right there that wicked people, and this is to all of you, because I'll hit you with something. Sometimes when people get like fame and all of that, they say, I know I'm living right because God blessed me. That's not God, it's the devil. You done sold your soul to the devil. That's what Psalms 92:7 is talking about, that the wicked sprouted up like grass, and all who did iniquity flourish. All of them that did evil, they got the money, they got the nice homes, they got the nice cars. But why did they get it? Why did the Lord allow this thing to happen? The last part of that verse says it was only that they might be destroyed forevermore. So he could justify destroying him when the judgment comes. Book of 2 Peter 2 and 3. Actually, 2 Peter 3:6 says, through which the world at time was destroyed, being flooded with water. That's supposed to be a warning. When the Most High destroyed the earth with water, that was supposed to be a warning right there. But a lot of people not taking heed. So upon the second coming, you're going to see it again. Now, so to bring down the Israelite movement, or what they call the Black Hebrew Israelites, they are using COINTELPRO again. They're using it again on the Israelites. And there's one thing that I detest about a lot of you Israelite groups, and this is where I've been actually putting videos out on this particular subject, and as you have heathens within your midst, and as you trust too many people, you can't even really trust a lot of your own people. Look how this guy Garfield got on there and just, I mean, he really bashed, like just butchered all Israelites and trying to convince everyone that was listening that we hate our own people. And that guy, he definitely sounded like an informant to me, man. I don't know if he is, but if he's not, then he's definitely walking that coon walk for certain. But you know, a lot of these heathens in these camps, they are informants. And I know you don't believe it, but let me reflect on something, right? Well, if you think back to the Black Panthers, right? There was this Japanese guy, and most of you don't know about this guy. There was this Japanese guy And he was a member of the Black Panthers. He was a member of the Black Panthers. And he was the one that actually provided them with the guns that you would see, with the weapons that you would see. The man's name was Aoki. Go and look him up. Japanese guy. His name was Aoki. He turned out to be a damn informant. You people, you always, want to allow enemies within your midst. This guy turned out to be working for COINTELPRO. A lot of Panthers today still don't know this. So in an FBI report, Aoki was actually arming the Black Panthers with the weapons. And so while he was arming the Black Panthers with the weapons, he was a damn informant going back to the FBI, telling them where the Panthers was going to be and what they was planning to do. The same thing's going to happen in ISUPK because you got informants within your ranks. Same thing's going to happen in h.o.i. Same thing's going to happen in GMS. Same thing's going to happen in GOCC and so on and so forth because you won't listen. So this guy, Aoki, was a so-called Asian American activist. And, this guy was so supposedly, right after high school, he became an activist, right? You can look him up. Richard Aoki. Richard Aoki, that was his name. And he was literally a prominent member of the Black Panther Party. If you watch some of the Black Panthers films, you'll see him there in the background. Look for the Moabite. But he was also an FBI informant. Now, this guy, Richard Aoki, he just died in 2009, right? He was 70 years old. And to many people, he was like an icon. He was a symbol solidarity, right? Between the so-called Asian Americans and the so-called African Americans. Now, when he died, he was in very poor health. I contend that it was the Most High judging him, man, for his wickedness. Because in his final years, he was suffering. And so then it was later revealed that he actually had killed himself in his Berkeley home. Now, since his death, he's been, the subject of a documentary, right? Aoki. That was the name of the documentary. And also a book, The Samurai Among the Panthers. Go and check those things out. You'll see I'm not making this stuff up. Now, during the turbulent late 1960s, this guy, Richard Aoki, became a high-ranking member of the Black Panthers. A lot of Panthers don't even talk about this guy, right? And he was the damn snitch. But he became a high-ranking member of the Black Panthers because he was feeding them with their weapons. He provided them with weapons training because a man had served in the military. And so since he remained friends with a lot of the surviving Panthers, they continued to promote this guy, man, as a member of the Black Panther. And he was also a spokesman for the so-called Third World Liberation Front, an Asian American political alliance. Now, I was watching a documentary about this guy, Self Rosenfeld, of the Center for Investigation Reporting. He actually published an article in the San Francisco Chronicle about Richard Aoki. And he came out how Richard Aoki had ties to the FBI. There was a video that he done on it. And he named the video, you might be able to go and watch it on YouTube, The Man Who Armed the Panthers. And you can read more about it in Rosenfeld's book, Subversaries, right? So, and it talks about the FBI war on student radicals and Reagan's rise to power, which is based on 30 years of research. Now, this guy Rosenfeld said in his video that he was actually literally approached and contacted by an FBI agent. And this FBI's agent name was Bernie Thedgrill, right? And he said when Thedgrill saw his FBI document, it actually had Richard Aoki's name in it. He said, according to this guy's Rosenfeld documentary I was watching, he said, this guy said, I know that guy. I know that guy. That's Aoki. He was my informant. Now, what's the chances that happened? And then he said, I developed him. Meanwhile, this guy supplying the Black Panthers with weapons, and the FBI is using him for an informant. And he's smiling in your face, and you thinking you could trust him, and he's plotting on your death. And so this guy, Threadgill, the FBI agent, he died in 2005. But he said that what he had to say about Richard Aoki in 2002, he done an interview with this guy Rosenfeld. And he said, and I quote what he said, he said, oh yeah, he was a character, man. He said, I don't have any interest in communism. And the guy said, I asked him, well, why don't you just go to some of the meetings? This is what the FBI agent told Aoki. Why don't you just go to some of the meetings and tell me what you saw there and what they talked about? And the sort of FBI agent said one thing led to another. And then Richard Aoki became a real good informant. So meanwhile, while he was supplying the Black Panthers with weapons and they was trusting this guy was setting them up. This guy was setting them up to be murdered and to be taken down. FBI informant, a Japanese Richard Aoki. Now, this guy, you want to do some research on him, see I'm not making this thing up. He was a student at Merritt College in Oakland. And that's where this guy, Richard Aoki, met Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, who was actually the founders of the Black Panther Party. And Richard Aoki at that time was a leader in the so-called Third World Liberation Front strike at, UC Berkeley back in 1969. And he actually headed the Berkeley chapter of the Black Panthers because they really trusted this dude. And so what did it come to? It come to you being betrayed. And so that's the same platform that the government is setting up today for the Israelites. It's the same thing that they're doing, man. And so, this guy, Rosenfeld, right? The one that was doing the documentary, he said, I knew from my research that he was a very smart and complex person who had a fascinating history. He said his family was interned during World War II, when America had the Japanese in concentration camps and so on and so forth. So this guy had actually grown up, Richard Aoki in West Oakland, which was a very rough neighborhood. He grew up among the blacks. You see what I'm saying? And he was actually part of a gang. He was also involved in several petty thefts. But he turned out to be co-valedictorian. So, the guy was pretty sharp, I guess. But, being in school like that, how smart do you have to be a valedictorian? In junior high school, he was valedictorian. And so he also went into the Army and he became an expert in firearms. He became a firearm expert. And so this is why he was actually able to train the Black Panthers in weapons training. You see what I'm saying? And so in his book, Seize the Time, Bobby Seale wrote, and I quote, I'm not making this up. You can go and get Bobby Seale's book. Get his book called Seize the Time. In his book, he said that we went to this third world brother. We knew, they was calling him a brother, a Japanese radical cat. He had guns. We told him that we wanted those guns to be institutionalized and let Black people know that we have to defend ourselves as Malcolm X said we must, in the quote. That's in Bobby Seale's book. So both Seale and the FBI, they wouldn't comment when Rosenfeld's story took place and he wanted to question them. But in a 2007 interview, Rosenfeld had actually asked Aoki if he knew this FBI agent, Thurgood, and he said, "I don't think so." And if you could hear, you really need to hear the documentary that I was watching, so you could tell that the guy was lying. And so when he told Thurgood that the FBI agent had actually identified him as an informant, Aoki said, "Oh, that's interesting," and then he just laughed like it was nothing. See, this is what you get for trusting in oppression. And the same thing is bound to happen to many Israelites organizations today, because you're like the new Black Panthers, man, but only you got Bibles in your hand. And so, Rosenfeld went on to ask Aoki, "Am I wrong?" And he just said, "I think you are." You see what I'm saying? These are admissions again. You can listen to the live thing yourself. I'm pretty sure you can find it on the internet. And so Rosenfeld proceeded and say, "So would you say it's untrue that you ever worked for the FBI or got paid by the FBI?" Aoki just replied, "I would say it." And then Rosenfeld said, "I'm trying to understand the complexities about it. And I think it's complex." And then Aoki replies, "It's complex." Then the guy just laughed like it was nothing. But when Rosenfeld interviewed the former FBI agent, he confirmed that this man was actually informant. A different FBI agent also confirmed that this man, Richard Aoki, was an informant. So, I mean, this is how J. Edgar Hoover was actually able to neutralize the Black Panthers through this guy, Richard Aoki, and William O'Neill, a so-called black man. Do you understand? And so go and check it out for yourself. I mean, what's interesting is they have not released the records on Richard Aoki. Well, why the FBI have not released the records on him? But anyways, in the video that I was watching, Rosenfeld talked about how the FBI documents and reviewing the records, there was a list of informants. Most of their names were actually blacked out of the informant, but for some reason, Richard Aoki's name had not been blacked out. And he was listed in the reports as informant T2. Informant T2. That's how they was listing this guy, Richard Aoki. And it stated in the FBI record that he was arming the Panthers with weapons. So, and this all occurred under J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI Operation COINTELPRO, again, which is an acronym for Counterintelligence Program. And this very thing is going on with the Israelites today. So if if you think not, then you're going to be in for a rude awakening. So I'm telling you, you better walk circumspectively. You better walk cautiously, because the devil is hard at work. The devil is very hard at work. But what does the scripture say about that? In 2 Thessalonians 1:9, the scriptures say, "These will pay the penalty of eternal destruction." See, all these people is rising up against the Israelites unjustly. 2 Thessalonians 1:9 says, "These will pay the penalty of eternal destruction, away from the presence of the Lord and from the glory of his power." And you know what that means. The hell that they're giving us that's the hell that they're going to have for eternity, according to the Bible. According to the Bible. Book of Daniel 8:25 says, and through his shrewdness, he will cause deceit to succeed by his influence. See, through Mel Blasio's shrewdness, he causes deceit to succeed. The same thing Trump's doing. He's shrewd. So I'm not racist. He's not a racist, but the very moment that Trump says something that exacerbates tension, you got white extremists that go out and commit violent acts. Why are they not identified as a hate group? Why are Trump followers not identified as a hate group when they've been executing violence on the public? Go and check it out for yourself. Look at all the violence that Trump followers has actually been causing across the country. Daniel 8:25 says, and through his shrewdness, he will cause deceit to succeed by his influence, and he will magnify himself in his heart. Right? They magnify themselves in the heart, and he will destroy many while they are at ease. So they are at ease right now. This is their heaven. They are at ease right now. He will even oppose the princes, and he will be broken without human agency. So God's going to do this thing. So Israel's not saying that they're going to do anything. The scriptures are saying the Most High is going to do this thing. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, the question is, do you have a Richard Aoki or William O'Neill in your organization, in your camp? There's existence of COINTELPRO, man, today, man. If you don't believe it, then you're definitely off your rocker. And the Lord warned you about these sorts of people, man. Book of Philippians 1:28. He says, in no way alarm by your opponents, which is a sign of destruction for them. So the Lord said the things that they're doing is a sign of destruction for them, meaning he's going to be able to justify their destruction, but salvation for you. And that too from Yahweh Shah. So your salvation is coming through Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. But according to the Bible, their destruction. 1 Timothy 6:9 says, but those who want to get rich fall into temptation. Like the guy Garfield. Like many of you out there to sow your souls, man. To be a rapper. To be an R&B singer. To be a model. To be an actor, an actress. But those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a snare, which is a trap, and many foolish and harmful desires, which plague men into ruin and destruction. That's 1 Timothy 6:9. Most of the people in the world today are guilty of this, but still think they deserve to be saved. Yeah, a lot of people didn't even show up for this call today, man. Justify it. Why? Because what's out there is more important to them. But they're going to be judged for that. See, the Most High always bring the true spirits out, man. The truth always manifests itself, man. Now, you can lie with your mouth, but you can't conceal the truth. The Lord's going to bring that thing out. The Most High is going to bring it out. Book of Romans 9:22 says, what if Yahweh, although willing to demonstrate his wrath and to make his powers known? So how does the Most High, what if he just wanted to make his power known, to show how powerful he is? Endure with much patience vessels of wrath, a certain people prepared for destruction. Certain people was created for destruction, according to the Bible. Book of Philippians 3:19 says, whose end is destruction, whose God is their appetite. I want this. I want to control the world. I want to build more nuclear. You can't have nuclear powers, but we're going to have it. You can't have that, but we're going to have it. We're going to go over there and we're going to control your oil. But Israelites are radical. Israelites are not trying to control anyone else's country. Israelites don't tell other people what they could do in their own country or how their government should be ran. Philippians 3:19 says, whose end is destruction, whose God is their appetite. They want everything. They want the oil. They already took all the gold from Africa. You had it in Fort Knox. Now you lost that to the banksters, whose glory is their shame, who set their minds on earthly things. See, these men's minds are carnal as hell. It's set on earthly things. Many of you are like that. You're concentrating on worldly, earthly things. You don't concentrate on salvation, because if so, course like this would be essential for you. You would definitely trying to be on course like this, man. But I gotta do this. You're working on the Lord. You violating the Lord's Sabbath. You violating the Lord's Shabbat, man. Some people didn't even show up for the COINTELPRO. You violating the Lord's Sabbath. But judgment's coming from that. Not according to the according to the Bible. The Lord said, don't violate his Shabbat day, his holy day. It's a day of rest. Apparently, what you got to do is more important. But wait until the judgment of the Most High come, man. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 3 says, and in their greed, they will exploit you with false words. That's what they're doing to us right now. They're exploiting the Israelites with false words. Their judgment from long ago is not idle. So they're still going to be judged for everything they done over 450 years ago. Hell, from all the way back during the time of the Romans and the Greeks. And the destruction is not asleep. So it's coming. And this is all the Israelites be saying. And when you say stuff like this, when you read it from the Bible verbatim, they call it a hate crime. They say this is hate. Well, God must hate. Because we're quoting the Bible verbatim. 2 Peter 2:12 says, but these like unreasoning animals. But these like unreasoning animals. But these like unreasoning animals, born as creatures of instinct. See, a man reacts off of rational thinking. Beasts react off of instinct. But 2 Peter 2:12 says, but these like unreasoning animals, born as creatures of instinct, to be captured and killed, reviling where they have no knowledge. So you don't have knowledge of the scriptures. Will in the destruction of those creatures also be destroyed. The ones that's trying to destroy the Israelites, according to the Bible, you will be destroyed. You will be destroyed. Understand that. 2 Peter 3:7 says, but by his word, the present heavens and the earth are being reserved for fire, kept for the day of judgment and destruction of ungodly men. Are you ungodly? Bible's written in a masculine form, so it's referring to women as well. Are you ungodly? If you're not doing thus saith the Lord, then you're ungodly. Over 613 laws. Which one did you break today? Which one did you break today? You better follow the true light. You better follow the true light. 1 John 1:5 says, this is the message we have heard from him and announced to you, that h.o.i is light, and in him there is no darkness at all. So that means if you're sinning, because you're supposed to be Christ-like, the Most High made you in his own image and likeness. So if you're sinning and there's darkness in you, you have a need to repent and stop sinning, because there's no darkness in Christ. You can't say you're walking with Christ, yet you're walking in darkness. You're watching porn. You're involved in threesomes and so on and so forth. You're stealing. You're beating your wives. You're walking in darkness. Or you're a snitch. So, we have a lot of people that it's not going to make it. And so at the same time, it's going to be justified. But you have this hidden hand that plans to eliminate Israelites because they don't like what's going on. See, the rulers of the world, they know the truth. They know that there's a certain, people that the Lord has chose. How you going to read the Torah and the Tanakh and not see that the Israelites are the chosen people of God? How are you going to call yourself a Christian and not see this when you read in the Bible that God had a specific people? How are you going to read that? How are you going to call yourself a reverend, a deacon, a priest, and not see these things? Book of Psalms 119 and 130 says, the unfolding of your words give light. It gives understanding to the simple. This is why people are supposed to hear this word. But what are you doing today? Oh, you had to work? Okay, roger that. Remember what Hamashiach and h.o.i said about that. Book of Psalms 119, 105. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. What is the word? The Bible. In the volume of the book. Proverbs 6 and 23 says, for the commandment is a lamp and the teachings is a light, and reproof for discipline or the way of life. Most people don't like reproof. Most people don't like being corrected. So you remain in your folly. You understand? Most people don't want to hear this, man. But you better hear something, man. You better wake up, man. Don't fall a victim. And whatever you do, don't fall out of this truth, man. Don't turn your head away from the plow. And I'll tell you something else, man. When you stay isolated, that's when you get in trouble. This is why the Most High orders you to congregate. Because when a man starts isolating himself, you hanging off to yourself. Now, I don't want to be affiliated. You start sinning, and there's no one there to warn you to correct you. But if your brother, had you been around your brother, your sister, they might have said, hey, don't do that. You're not supposed to do that. You're breaking the law. 1 Peter 2 verse 9 says, but ye are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. This is why they don't like you. A people for God's own possession. This is why they don't like you. This is why they don't like Israelites. So that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who has called you out of darkness into the marvelous light. But just because he's shown the light doesn't mean you're walking in the light. Many of you are making excuses not to walk in the light. You choose to walk in darkness. You're operating with Satan on the left-hand side. This is where people show up late and stuff and don't really take this seriously. You think you have a lot of time. You take this as something trivial. What if you died the next 10 minutes? Do you have assurance that you will be in Abraham's bosoms, or would you be in the chambers of hell? Would your soul be in the chambers of hell? It's a question that you definitely want to reflect on. You want to think about that, man. So this modern attack on the Israelites is nothing but COINTELPRO reinforced. It's just COINTELPRO reinforced. And so don't fall for it. It's just a plot of the system to, set the Israelites up to be attacked exactly like they done the Black Panthers. That's all it is. So, you got to walk circumspectively and put your trust in, put your trust in the Lord. Don't trust in man. Man will let you down every time. Put your trust in the Lord. Fast and pray. To all of you that seems, feeble and don't want to talk. Hey, man. you run away. Anytime that you want to stand up for truth, fact of the matter is, there's a cross for you. According to Hamashiach and h.o.i. Anytime you stand up for justice and truth, there is a cross for you. And to the people that fall out, nah, I'm not going to do that anymore. I get like Israelites are under attack, and then this is never for you. Because Hamashiach Yahweh says none of mine are yours. He wouldn't lose none. In the book of John 6:37 through 39, Christ ain't none of mine are lost. So to all of you that fall to the wayside, you was just planted on that stony ground. You know what I mean? You was planted on a rock or something, and you just washed away because, you know, the de facto decides to come after you, or COINTELPRO decides to come after you, and you fall out of the truth, is because this was never for you anyways. Because Christ said none of mine are lost. John 6:37 through 39, he says, for all those the Father gives me will come to me, and whoever comes to me, I will never drive away. For I have come down from heaven not to do my will, but to do the will of him that sent me. And this is the will of him that sent me, that I shall lose none of those he has given me, but raise them up at the last day. So Christ saying none of mine are lost. So if you know people that came around and fell out, like that man that they was trying to say was an Israelite at one time, some of the media says at one time he was an Israelite. No, he wasn't. Christ saying none of mine was lost. So none of his is actually ever lost. So his heart was never really in it. You understand? His heart was never really in this, meaning his mind. His mind was never really in it. So, I mean, this is just, you know, a blatant attack on Israelites because there's a spirit of unity and they don't like that. You know, tell me any other group out there right now that's really relevant that, I mean, because Israelite camps are popping up everywhere. Tell me any other group that's really relevant that you really had that's on YouTube and anywhere else. It's the Israelites. And pretty much, you know, despite the discrepancy of some of the doctrines, they're pretty much all saying the same thing. And they all feel that we're being oppressed. They all feel that we're being dealt injustice. And so they're speaking out against it. And so when you speak out against it, you're labeled as a black extremist, and you're going to be dealt with. So the question becomes, are you ready to carry your cross? Are you ready to? Hamashiach told you that some of you are going to die for this truth. I mean, there's a cross for you. Anytime you want to stand up for justice, there is a cross for you. Hamashiach said, if you want to follow me, you got to take up your cross. You can't, you know, you can't just follow with lip service. And he told you about his people, man. He said these people, they follow me with their heart. I mean, they follow me with their mouth, their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Book of Matthew 16:24 says, then Hamashiach told his disciples, if anyone will come after me, let him deny himself. Deny what you want to do in this world. Deny what you think is best for you and take up his cross and follow me. What does that cross represent? That cross represents affliction. Hamashiach died on the cross. That cross represents blood. It represents sacrifice. So anytime you truly want to stand up for justice, there's a cross for you. You don't want to pick up your cross. This is not for you, man. You're just a damn actor. You see what I'm saying? Or an actress. So you could go damn to Hollywood and get a damn Academy Award for acting like you really wanted to do this. Because if you're not picking up the cross, you want to stand back in a cut and be quiet. And you Negroes, you're always on the damn sideline. Yeah, you don't never want to say nothing. You can't talk. You know, you got a lot of damn talk, energy, and fight in you when it's against your own people. But when it's time to speak out against your mortal enemy, you can't talk. You seem to have lost your voice. You're too damn cowardly to speak up. Bunch of damn cowards. soft men, you damn marshmallows. You won't speak up against the enemy. You don't have a damn thing to say that. You won't pick up your cross, but you'll pick up that 9 against your brother. You'll pick up that Mac 10 against your brother and blow his brains out and think nothing of it. But in the face of a real enemy, you don't have a damn thing to say. You stand mute, stand shaking, just stand there shaking. And then in the background, you're telling people that you're a revolutionary. Malcolm told you what the hell a revolutionary was, man. A revolution is bloody. This is what the cross represents. The cross represents the blood of Christ. Hamashiach said to pick up your cross and follow me. You might have to die for this truth if you're really in it. If not, stop playing. Go ahead and sit on the damn side. You Negroes love to be on the damn sideline. Where you were when Malcolm got murdered. You was on the damn sideline, mourning, talking about how things are not right for us. You was on the damn sideline when Martin Luther King got murdered. What you doing? Just jaw japping, talk of intent, doing nothing. Talking about we shall overcome with your damn heads down, getting dogs sick on you, getting hosed down, and you suffered peacefully. You was on the damn sideline when Fred Hampton got murdered. You love on the sideline, not saying anything, scared. And so they know that. They already have it figured out. Well, they're just going to protest a little bit. And then things are going to go back to normal. That's your record. That's what you've been doing. And as long as that continues, the world's going to remain the way that it is. So you're going to speak up or you're going to stand mute. But don't say you represent Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Shah opposed systems. Yeshua opposed the system and he spoke out against it and they hated him for it. The history's clear. When you look at the biblical prophets, right? Any of them, they were stoned in jail. John the Baptist was stoned in prison. Daniel, stoned in the damn lion's den. Think about it. Anytime you speak up for justice, the rulers of the world, the principalities, the darkness, the spiritual darkness in high places, they have a cross for you. Instead of being a damn coward, bear your cross. Stand for something. That guy said, I can't make it. I'm not going to make it today. Well, hell with it. We don't need you then, man. We don't need cowards. We don't need no damn men this weak. You talk a talk, but then when things pop off, you ready to run. We don't need you, man. We don't need you. You're not real warriors, man. You just talk with your mouth, man. You're damn keyboard rangers, right? You're keyboard rangers, keyboard special forces. You sit behind the damn keyboard and you talk real tough. But when everything hits the fan, you're nowhere to be seen. I see you, man. I see right through you. And you know who you are. Cutting a lot of people right now, man. This is not for everyone, man. This is not for everyone. You can't be a soldier in the army of the Most High if you're a damn coward. This is for real warriors, man. So that's what it is, man. That's what it is, man. So you like that? Understand it. Believe it or not. And this is why I'm going to hit you with something, man. This is why you damn black stayed in slavery so damn long, because you're cowards. You're cowards. You watch your women get lynched, get raped. You just stand there. Even after slavery, man. There's a book I would encourage all of you to read called 100 Years of Lynching by Ralph Ginsburg. So-called black men would stand there shaking in anger when these so-called white men would come on. Sam, send your daughter out to me. Send your wife out to me. Go and have sex with his wife. And he's just thinking how horrible it is. Weak. It's better to die, man. It's better to die in honor. You don't know what a man's been. Most of these guys in this world today, you don't even know what a real man is, man. You're being reared by women. That's all part of the plan. Feminism, that's Marxism. This is all orchestrated by a man. That was planned to destroy the family unit. That's destruction of family. And so with that, ultimately what's going to happen right now, men are getting divorced, raped in court, right? Men are leaving the courts with damn near nothing, right? That's just a way of destroying the family, because systematically they want to break down the unit of family. Population control. Okay, well, let's push the alternative lifestyle. Population. I was watching a video this morning that Jordan sent me where damn a transsexual person took a damn axe, walked into a convenience store, and for no reason whatsoever, walked around in a circle, because these people have spirits on them. That's why you got to walk circumspectly. Had a knife tucked back here and took a damn axe. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to put this in the room for you. Show you I'm not making this up. Give me a second. Took a damn axe, walked in a convenience store. People that didn't even know, and just chopped the guy in the face with a freaking axe, and then turned it on a female for no reason, and then walked away as if it was nothing. Give me a second. Do better than that. I am going to get it for you. What do you think about this, man? This is how crazy this world is. And it's called MK Ultra. It's called psychological engineering. And it's the same thing that they're doing with Israelites. Now, hopefully I could actually be able to play. How can I play this? Let me see. Trying to share my screen here again. I gotta let you see this real quick, man, before I close this thing out. Because I'm like, what the hell's going on in this world? It's like just pure wickedness. Wickedness. Let's see, share my screen here. I can't get up there. Can I play this? I can't get to the internet from here. Nope. Get from it from there. So I'm trying to figure out I can get to my internet here. If I can. All right, you know what? I'm gonna post it in the room so you guys can see it over here, and I'll post it on YouTube. I'm gonna post it in the chat room, so you guys can click on this real quick and watch what I'm talking about. This is just utterly insane. This is just utterly insane. Let me see. I'll click on this. So the people that's on the call, you can see that in the chat room. I'm gonna go to YouTube and post it over here. And what just happened? All right, so you can click on that right there, and that's just crazy, just insane. Now you're talking about heinous crime. That is utterly insane. Let me see here. Advance. Portion of the screen. So, I mean, you could click on that, check it out. I mean, but essentially, this world's just, you know, crazy, and people's minds are actually really being manipulated. But I posted that in both rooms. You guys could check it out. I mean, just for no reason, transsexual person walks in the convenience store with an axe, chaps the guy in the face at the, you know, he's talking to him, then turns and chop a female in the first. And, you know, I mean, you can see the blood just shattered, and just walks off as if it's nothing. And then you see a later scene, the medical vehicles there, paramedics there, and just a deranged world here that we're in. I mean, that's what it is. And so with that, I'm going to bring this to an end. I thank everyone for listening, and I'm going to say shalom. Like the video, share the video. Shalom.